So hello everyone, and thank you for attending our second episode of ORAC 2.0 Informational Webinar Series, Apprentice Intake Updates. We have a ton of exciting news and we're super happy to be sharing it with you today. Before we jump into the webinar, I would like to do a Zoom tutorial. I know that most of you are probably experts at using Zoom nowadays, but we'll quickly touch on a few points relevant to this webinar for those who are not so familiar with the platform. Please ensure that you are logged into the Zoom webinar on either a computer, a smartphone, or a tablet so that you have access to all features of the webinar. All attendees in this webinar have been muted to provide the best experience for both the presenters and the viewers. If you have any questions during the meeting, please enter them in the Q&A box. Your questions will then be answered directly in the Q&A box or verbally by the presenter at the end of the meeting. If you would like to ask a question verbally at the end of the meeting, please raise your hand and I will unmute you. On that note, let's get into the webinar. My name is Amy Carpenter and I'm the Marketing Program Coordinator at ORAC. I'm your point of contact at ORAC for all things related to the Apprentice Intake Program. Presenting with me today, we have Brian Carey, who is the Chair of the ORAC Apprentice Intake Committee and former member of the Board of Directors. Also, we have Jim McGaughey, co-chair of the Apprentice Intake Committee and member of ORAC's Board of Directors. Take it away, Jim.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Apprentice Intake Update seminar. These are definitely challenging times for all of us. We've had to adopt to a number of new social norms, including, as you see in this room, social distancing, working from home, and of course, what we're doing today is in terms of remote meetings, tutorials, and such. I will mention though that there is a return to normalcy that I'm noticing. This is my first Starbucks coffee since March 14th, which is fantastic. It's the first time I've worn a dress shirt since March 14th and not been in track clothes or pajamas. So this is a very exciting day for me. I also understand and appreciate that a lot of us, including myself, are suffering from Zoom fatigue. So as such, we're going to keep this seminar brief. We're going to keep it informative, zippy, interactive amongst the three of us, and as stimulating as the topic will lend itself to be. So on that note, we'll go to the topics that we will be covering today. The topics will be we're going to go over the objectives of the program, the current status of the intake process, intake requirements for applicants, the steps for applicants, apprentice online testing, interviews, the current ready to hire list we'll go over with you, steps for hiring an apprentice, the keys to continued success for this program, and then we will have time at the end of the seminar to address any questions that you would like to bring up. I'll go on to discussing the objectives of the program. The program, as many of you know, was started, the Apprentice Intake Program commenced in 2012. It is comprised of two co-chairs, myself and Brian Carey, and administrated by our capable Amy Carpenter, who's our Marketing Program Coordinator. We also have a steering committee of 8 people, which go over all governance issues, changes to the program, typically meets 1 time per year. Currently, that committee is comprised of myself and Brian, as well as with Amy, and our Managing Director, Mike Burge. And from ORAC, we have a number of representatives on the steering committee as well, including Josh Bell from Simcoe, Ron Abernathy of Kelson, Dino from Reed Air, Kevin Whitten from Rosetown, and John Long from Extra Mechanical. And we appreciate all of their involvement in the program. The objective of the program, our mission from the beginning, has been to attract and secure the best and brightest applicants for our industry. Our goals remain to attract the best candidates available, provide them with the best training facility in some of our biospheres throughout North America, that being with the JTAC, and having participated on that committee, I full-heartedly endorse that. And to successfully executing these strategies for the end result being to have the highest quality workforce. Amy will now review the current intake status.
Actually, it's Brian. I
Sorry, Brian.
changed my name a couple of days ago, so I understand you didn't get the memo. So the current intake status is we had the pleasure of having intake number 11, which took place in December to February of this current year. And basically we verified the applicants for the intake and scheduled the online testing. And we've done several of these testings. So just to keep everybody in the same loop, we are open for business. And throughout the majority of the COVID situation, we have been interviewing, we have been testing numerous candidates during these lovely challenging times. And so we have our intake 12, which was normally scheduled for February to June of 2020. That has been canceled, mostly due to economic factors, certainly restrictions in terms of gathering and the drop-off of our industry as we know it. So there's still people on layoff, so it's important to get them back to work as quickly as possible. So we didn't want to add added distraction by including more applicants. So our next intake period, which is number 13, will actually follow in December 2020 and complete in February 2021, which is our normal intake procedure. Keep in mind, if there is special circumstances, we can make arrangements for that. So it's not like we're not interviewing. If there is people that have a candidate that they really are strongly feeling about, that they can certainly approach Amy and we can look at fast tracking testing.
Hi, Amy. Just to let you know, we have Teresa with her hand up for a question.
Okay, I think we're going to save the questions just for the end of the presentation, just in case we cover anything going forward. Okay, so firstly, we will go over the minimum requirements for applicants looking to go into the ORAC Apprentice Intake Program. So the minimum requirements that all applicants must have are a grade 12 English credit, a grade 12 math credit, a grade 11 or 12 physics or chemistry credit, so only one of those, and then a valid G-class driver's license. Applicants can obtain additional points by having an HVAC diploma from a registered college, co-op or OEAC experience in the industry, other trade licenses such as an electrician, gas licenses, an ODP card, or safety certifications such as WMIS, first aid, and working at heights. Okay, so there are 4 steps to our intake program. The first step is the application. So our applications are accepted annually from December 1st to February 28th and May 1st to June 30th, with the exception of this year due to COVID-19. The second step is our testing. So applicants who meet all of the minimum requirements will be invited to test on math and science and mechanical aptitude. The third step are interviews. So applicants who pass their tests will be invited to an interview who are performed by contractor volunteers. If they are successful with their overall marks of all 3 steps, they will be considered to be selected for our ready to hire list. New this year, COVID-19 pushed us to improve our apprentice intake testing and transition to an online platform. This is a highly beneficial upgrade to the program as it allows us to obtain marks quicker and opens opportunity to test applicants who are located far from the GTA more efficiently. Over the last week, we successfully tested almost 30 applicants. 70% of these applicants were remotely located. Over the next 4 weeks, all of the remaining applicants from intake 11 will be tested. So how does the online testing work? We utilize a secure online testing platform called Cavion. Cavion allows us to bank all of our test questions, create multiple versions of tests, perform psychometric reviews of each question to monitor how well it's performing. During test execution, Cavion notifies me of any attempt to open another window, screenshot attempts, recording attempts, etc. In combination with Cavion, I've been using Zoom to monitor applicants while they write their tests. At the beginning of the test, I have applicants show their driver's license to verify their identity, turn off their cell phone, and perform a room sweep. Once they have completed this step, I then move them into their own Zoom breakout room, where they have privacy from the other applicants in the call. Candidates must have their microphone and camera turned on during the entire exam. If an applicant does not have access to a computer with webcam or working Wi-Fi, we will make arrangements for in-person testing using tablets. So our scheduling priorities for our online testing include the following. So our first priority was to test applicants who were farthest from the GTA. Our second group is applicants with prior job offers from contractors. And then highest scoring applicants based on their application points, followed by the rest of the applicants. Moving on to the next step of the intake process, we have interviews.
The interview section was really a part of our continuous improvement of our processes and our outcomes. And Jim and I were made aware some time ago that we could have some inconsistency in some of the interview scoring because it's done by a multitude of different individuals. So it was important that we brought it back to more of a objective interview versus a subjective interview. And that was very key going forward. So we're trying to make some meaningful changes to the process, as Amy just mentioned, about the online testing portion, which makes us much more efficient, as does the enhanced interviewing. So part of the new interview questionnaire was to revamp it and make it more, again, objective-based versus subjective-based. Clearly establish the objectives in the interview phase. Provide interviews guides and volunteer interviewers. Catherine Management, which was a huge professional organization that we reached out to help improve this by revamping that questionnaire and providing us training and insight to really make a step up in our process of interviewing. And we really want to thank them for all their help in this matter, because it's really great working with a professional team such as Catherine. New for 2020, we are implementing Zoom to complete the interviews for applicants from intake 11. We will be conducting Zoom interviews, and as Amy mentioned, she's already done about 30 plus, and the balance will be done in the next 4 weeks. Catherine will be providing training sessions to the interviewers so that we can actually be more meaningful in our dialogue and be able to capture more important notes that come up from the interviews. And essentially split them into Zoom breakout rooms so that we can be more efficient with our times. So hopefully volunteers out there in our ORAC family can feel more at ease of committing to participating in this interview process, because they'll actually be able to schedule some times, work from their office, from their home, wherever their current workplace is, and participate in this very valuable process. So essentially that's pretty straightforward using Zoom. I think we've all done that. And it'll be a big thing. So Amy will assign any new applicants to the room. She'll coordinate all that, so it'll be very seamless and fun. I'm sure we'll make it some fun. We'll have to make it fun. We also have now scheduled the tentative interview sessions, a little subject to change just because we still have to finalize a couple of minor details. But that will be starting Wednesday, August 5th, Thursday, August 6th, Monday, August 10th, and Tuesday, August 11th. So please feel free to reach out to Amy if you're interested in volunteering as an interviewer. And of course, Catherine will provide some very valuable training to all interview candidates.
If you're looking to hire an apprentice right now, we currently have 76 approved applicants on our ready to hire list. If you'd like to access the list, you can log into your contractor account on ORAC.ca, and under the resources tab, click on hire an apprentice. It'll show you all of the apprentices that are currently approved, and it'll allow you to obtain their contact information to reach out to them for an interview. So the breakdown of the current ready to hire list, we have 57 pre-approved applicants in the GTA, 9 in the Ottawa region, 9 in London, and 1 in Sudbury. So I just wanted to reiterate the proper way to hire an apprentice. There has been some confusion sometimes with the applicants contacting us themselves. So the first step for a contracting company to follow is to get permission from the union to hire a first-year apprentice. They need to check the union's out-of-work list in compliance with Article 503A of the collective agreement, ratios of the trade, and all other ministry and regulatory rules. The second step is to provide an employment letter for the applicant of interest to both the union representative and to myself. The third step is a candidate compliance form. So once I receive a job offer, I will provide the candidate's compliance form to the union rep, the contractor, and to the applicant. The final step of this process is that they are now hired by the contractor, and the rest of the paperwork will go directly through the union and the JTAC.
I'd also now like to talk about the continued success and what we deem to be the key factors for the continued success of the program. First and foremost, I point out that as one of the largest trade organizations in Ontario, we have the unique opportunity and the power to shape the future of the industry. In our 8 years of operation, we have strove to make significant progress in achieving the goals of the program, including unique and innovative tools that are being presented today during this COVID pandemic. We're an association of contractors committed to identifying, developing, and retaining the very best candidates for our industry. But we can only continue to be successful as long as we continue having the participation of the contractors. I'd like to make a huge thanks and appreciation goes out to many of you. Amy was telling me today we already have 40 contractors who have confirmed for the next interviewing process. So that is tremendous participation, and we thank you all for participating. More are welcome to participate, all are welcome to participate in this process. I would like to also give a big thank you to those contractors out of town, particularly during this pandemic, that have availed themselves to assist us in remote testing interviews in such areas as Thunder Bay, as in Sudbury, and in London, and Ottawa as well. So we appreciate all of the help of those contractors. A big thank you to you as well. With respect to the available for hire list, you see on that list that Amy presented that we have 76 available candidates on the list. I like to acknowledge that we are not the human resource department for ORAC contractors. Those are your decisions, and those are what makes you uniquely successful for your market niche, for your requirements. But we do ask that, seeing that we have all participated in this process and we have vetted these 76, which we will call super candidates, we ask that before you go out and hire someone on your own, that you please vet that list and that you utilize Amy to assist you for your particular area. She will work very hard with you. That is our mission, is to place these applicants. So anything that we can do to have them securely employed is our mission. So we will continue working with you on that. The last thing I'd like to touch upon is we'll go over the key contacts for you to reach out to during this process. Again, Amy is your key point of contact from the ORAC perspective in terms of identifying candidates, assisting with you in the process. Then we also have, in terms of our partnership with 787, we've listed the business manager, Andrew Tarr, as well as business agents Ian Frost, Randy Pye, and Tony Panetta with their contact information. And then also Adila is on there, who administrates for the JTAC. And also we've listed on there Gino. One thing we didn't mention is Gino has been very, very helpful working with us and is working closely with Amy to also revamp our mechanical aptitude as well as our math and science testing. Some of the questions are somewhat archaic. Archaic is perhaps the wrong term, but let's use outdated. And Gino is working to update those questions to ensure that they are relevant to millennials as they were to us. So we thank Gino for his efforts on that. And on that, that concludes our formal session. Amy, did you want to preside over any questions?
Yes, so if you have any questions about the presentation, you can either submit them in the question and answer box in Zoom, or you can raise your hand and I will unmute you to ask your question verbally. We'll just give a couple of minutes for people to either raise their hand or submit their questions.
Weather related? Interesting.
Or maybe we did such a good job, there's no questions.
Apparently so, or we put them all to sleep and we need to wake them up with some nice
Maybe
music
that,
or
yeah.
something.
Jessica, you had mentioned there was a question earlier.
Teresa did have her hand up in the beginning of the presentation, so I'm not sure if Teresa, if you still had a question for us. So there is a hand up.
Hello.
Hi there, you're unmuted.
Okay. We've had some issues in the past with the maintenance of the list ongoing, where we would have interviewed a candidate or we talked to a candidate who is already working somewhere else or has taken a different job. Just looking to see what the process is for maintaining the list.
Yeah, so every couple of months, the plan is that I will send out an email to the ready to hire list just to check in with them, see if they've accepted another job or if they'd like to remain on the list. So this has recently been done and the current list is up to date. Going forward, I'd like to do that every, I think, 3 months.
Yeah, it is an excellent point, and it has been a challenge for many contractors. I can tell you that we all have a vested interest to vet that list as really to get it as relevant as possible. One of the reasons is we need that list to diminish so that we can bring on additional candidates. It becomes difficult to saturate the market with candidates, particularly as you know, when some of them have taken on alternative careers. So we need to continually vet that list and ensure that they're removed from the hire list.
And reinforce the importance of that candidate to communicate to Amy so that we can keep a fresh list.
Yeah. We have a question from Paul Wrigley. Is there a maximum number of apprentice candidates that we allow on the list?
There is, and it's based on need. So we poll the contractors to find out what their needs are, their plans are. I know they're not stated in stone, but we do our best efforts to find out what the upcoming need is. And based on geographic areas, we would deem an appropriate benchmark for each area. So you'll see GTA will normally get up into around 100 on the list at the beginning of the season when the need is there. And the Northern Ontario would typically be around half a dozen.
Yeah.
Southwest Ontario could be more towards 20-ish, similar to Ottawa. So those are basically based on information that's been gathered from the contractors and the areas where they're going to hire.
And also based upon the previous year's hires as well, new hires, we based the number on that as well, which typically the last, memory serves me, the last 3 years has hovered between 90 and 100 apprentices being hired in the industry in Ontario.
Okay, so we have another question. Are there any candidates from Northern Ontario currently testing? Yes, there are, I believe, just under 10 applicants in Northern Ontario that are currently going through the process, and there is 1 applicant in Sudbury who is currently on the ready to hire list. It looks like that concludes the questions right now.
Oh, one just popped up, Amy.
Is there a candidate, if there is a candidate that we want to hire, but there is apprentices on the employment list at the local, can we hire the candidate regardless of the unemployed on the list?
Again, that would go back to the section that Amy went through in terms of the procedures on how to hire an apprentice. So it's very important that you reach out to the local UA office, your business manager, and find out what is available on the list and interview them. We'd certainly urge you to employ them first and foremost. And if they're not suitable, then of course you can have that discussion with them and we can look at bringing someone on the apprentice list to hire. We're really trying to instill upon all of us to make this program not only work better and more efficiently, but to really embrace it and use it for what the purpose is. The purpose is not to go around the setup processes that have been in place for many, many decades. It's really to help us find some good new candidates to fulfill our field needs.
Yeah, having stated that, I can say historically, though, we've had very, very good cooperation with 787 in terms of bringing on first-year apprentices as new entrants into our industry. So I believe you will find a favorable response from your 787 business agent. But as stated with Brian, that is still the collective agreement process, which we are all signatory to.
Awesome. Okay, so some exciting news. Some of you may already know we are running a giveaway for this episode. So you've already completed the first step by registering and attending this webinar. The second step to fully have entered into the contest is to like our most recent social media post. So you can do this by following us. Our handle is at ORAC Association or at Apprentice HVAC-R. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So Jim, if you'd like to pass me our lovely giveaway right there.
Oh, this is the giveaway? I thought it was the hand sanitizer.
Oh. Okay, so this is our giveaway for this episode. So we have a $100 Petro Canada gift card, we have a 5 car wash card, and we have an Armor All car wash kit. So we'll be announcing the winner for that on Instagram Live later today at 3:00 p.m. So thank you everybody for attending this episode of ORAC 2.0. We sincerely hope that you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll be able to connect with you guys at some point in the future. Our next episode of ORAC 2.0 is on June 24th. It is sponsored by Kilmer Environmental. He is doing a topic on humidity, health, and the DL series solution. And then we've also listed our next following 3 episodes as well. So if you're interested in any of these, invitations will be sent out via email closer to the date of the webinar. So thank you everybody again, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.